Hi everyone, this is Jim and Sharon with Drive to Ride, and we want to tell you about our recent trip to Yosemite National Park. In summary, I'm just going to tell you now that if this isn't on your bucket list, you need to put it there. This is something that everyone needs to go see. Yosemite National Park is easily the most spectacular park we've ever been to.
So Yosemite is an awesome ride on a motorcycle. It's in California in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and we enjoyed every minute of seeing such beautiful scenery of pines and mountains and streams. And once you get into the entrance of the park, it's still another 22 miles of beauty to get to the visiting center on the floor, the Valley Floor.
What we found out later is the very place that we stopped is the same place that Teddy Roosevelt and John Muir camped in 1903 to discuss the future of the Yosemite Valley. It was during that camping trip that John Muir convinced Teddy Roosevelt that this really needed to be a national park.
We came to the park after the Ferguson fires, which happened in July. The park was actually closed and opened about a week before we came. So it was great. There weren't many people. Riding through the valley is so beautiful as we see different rock formations. You gotta look out for those peds too, they keep crossing. I didn't see a lot of them this time. Hopefully if you get a chance you can take a tour. And it's a 2-hour tour of the valley. Now it's a ticket item, but you can also take shuttle system. They call the bus yards, and you can get on and off to go to all the different sites. And so that's a fun way to be able to see more of the park without having to walk or drive.
What does YARD stand for? Yosemite Area Regional Transit.
Oh, I didn't know what it stood for. Okay, you have more information.
The streams in Yosemite are all fed by snowpack from the upper elevations. And because we were visiting late in the year, that snowpack had mostly melted, and the streams were not as robust as they are earlier in the year. This particular picture is of Bridal Veil Falls, which was still flowing. It's right there in the center of your picture, and this is seen from the tunnel overlook. As we pan around Yosemite Valley, you'll note that there's just no one here. We were here right after the park reopened, after the Ferguson fires. Ordinarily, this road will be jammed with cars and getting a place to park will be challenging.
As we stand at the floor and look up at these giant granite cliffs and mountains, you just feel so small. It's the wonder of God's creation. We just stood amazed, and it was an awesome thing to see.
One of the things to keep in mind when visiting Yosemite National Park are the distances involved. Now, on a motorcycle, this is a beautiful ride, but remember that from the western gate on Highway 120 to the Valley Floor is 22 miles. From the Visitor Center to Glacier Point is 30 miles, and to Mariposa Grove is a 37-mile trip. And depending on traffic, it could take a while. This part of our trip is leaving the Visitor Center and taking the road towards Glacier Point and Mariposa Grove. It's through here that we'll see the most evidence of the Ferguson Fire, as you can see here. In this next shot, you'll see where the road has been repaired. This is where the asphalt itself caught fire. As we said earlier, the fire had only been out a few days and the park reopened. As we come around this curve, you can see fire retardant on the left, and if you look over to the right, you'll see that there is still a plume of smoke. On the south end of Yosemite National Park is the Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias. These huge trees are beautiful to see, and there is a path the National Park Service has put together to take you out among them.
So we took some pictures, and they say a picture captures 1,000 words, but it still doesn't capture how huge these trees are.
When we got to Yosemite National Park, the Glacier Point Road had just been opened. So this was the first day it had been opened after the fire. Here you can see Nevada Falls and Vernal Falls.
"95% of Yosemite is wilderness, and I was awestruck by seeing the birds at eye level. And it was so amazingly quiet and beautiful as you looked out over the valley."
From this view, you can plainly see the Visitor Center several thousand feet below us. This is Half Dome from Glacier Point.
So the squirrel is just fascinating to me because of its coloring. It's variegated to where there's grays and browns, so it blends into the rocks, as you can see the gray rocks, and the sand, which is brown, and he's just so cute.
And one of the other fascinating things on Glacier Point is that you can get ice cream.
Back at the camp, we have this beautiful sunset to end our day.